Hello, welcome to my second tutorial. I don't want to keep you guys too long, because this is a continuation of the first one. But today we're going to cover monolid eye drawing, so a different kind of eye, and the sort of differences between that and a double eyelid. I'll cover drawing eyes in 3D space, as well as figuring out how to draw the second eye once you've completed one. And I want to teach you guys a little bit of how I would personally stylize my eyes as well. So yeah, get started. Monolids is a little bit different, but like before, you want to indicate the angle of the eye, and this one I would say has slight angle to it, so let's just show that. It's a bit too much, something like that. And then you're gonna have your starting and your ending. And then if we look at this top section, you can break that up into 3 sections like that. And then you're gonna have a little indication of the eye fold there. And then you wanna check the bottom one. This one I would break up into 3 different sections, but you can honestly break it up into 2. And then you're gonna have a little fold over. Just erase majority of that. And then for monolids, you typically have very deep tear ducts. And that is pretty much the structure of this eye right here. And then let's go basic rendering. So let's grab this skin tone over here. Set our sketch layer on multiply. Do this. Perfect. And then the iris here is practically black. So we'll just go in with a very dark brown and indicate that pupil. An iris. Indicate the white of the eye with a light color. And then now we're on the basic shading stage. So like I said before, for shading on the outside of the eye, anywhere outside of the eye, you want to add warm colors as your shading tones. So reds, yellows, oranges. That is just personal preference for myself. This is typically the formula that I follow. Warm shading on the outside because of the blood flow in these areas. And then let's accentuate these darker regions. And go even darker on this top lid. And then we'll do the inside shading. And then whenever I do inside shading, like I said before, I like to do cooler colors. So blues, purples, pinks, and greens. For this one, I'm gonna go with a bluish gray color once again. Set that layer to multiply. And one main difference that you're gonna find between monolids and double lids when rendering them is monolids have a very strong cast shadow on the white of the eye from the top lid. You just want to accentuate that a lot. I can go even darker here. Yes, very strong cast shadow. And then that cast shadow also affects this region where the fold is there as well. And then like before, it is an eye, so you'd want to follow the basic eye shading as if it were any sort of sphere. Something like that. Let me just blend that out a little bit. And I can even go much darker on this top lid cast shadow. So let's do that now. something like that. And then whenever I want to add colors, like I said before, to something that is already practically rendered, create a multiply layer and you grab the color I want and just add it to the areas where I see fit. And then just gonna add this yellow line here that I'm seeing from the reference. And then along the lash line as well, just based off the reference. And then that is pretty much the basic rendering done. Now, it is your favorite time, the lashes of course. And with monolids, they are gonna come up and under from the eyelid crease. And again, you want to follow that sort of radial pattern going on, adding clumps of 2 or 3. And then, like before, following the lash line at the bottom. Bottom eyelid lashes are a lot more sparse than the lower eyelid ones, so be very frugal with where you add your lashes at this bottom part. And then I'm just gonna go back to my iris layer, blend out that edge so it's not as harsh. When you finish all of that, you can treat yourself and add in your highlights. That is how you draw the monolid. And then what you want to focus on when drawing eyes from other angles is you want to remember the structure. So if you're having trouble sort of visualizing what the 3D structure of an eye is, it's pretty much your hands holding onto a ball. Your hands sort of wrap around and create that fold around the ball. And that's pretty much the structure you follow. If you're looking at an eye from the side view, you're going to see the white of the eye, which is the ball, and then your 2 hands in this triangle right there. And that's what you can see in this reference that I'm looking at right now. So the eyeball is a sphere, and then if you're looking at it from the side, you're gonna have this triangle section right here, and it's gonna come around and in. And then your iris and pupil would be here. And then again, sort of a radial pattern with the lashes. And you can sort of just imagine that sort of shape from different angles and how it would affect it. You're gonna have the top lid wrapping around, bottom lid wrapping around as well, and your lashes coming off. And then as you start to get into these regions of like 3/4 turns and everything, you're gonna have the tear duct sort of flare out. It's not gonna completely wrap around like the outside of the eye is. It's gonna sort of come out and protrude a little bit. And then the eyeball just sits inside here. And doing these sketches is a very good way to sort of train your brain to draw eyes from different perspectives. If you're looking at the eye from above, the top lid isn't gonna bend this way, but it's gonna bend outwards like this. is gonna wrap around once again. And then the bottom lid is gonna bend in a similar fashion. And then you're gonna have the tear duct coming out. And then it just comes up and meets at the top. Your lashes are gonna extend outwards like this. In that radial pattern once again. And then bottom lid, same deal. And sort of trying to get this in your mind that your eye is pretty much this structure really helps with visualizing eyes from different angles. And then one thing that many artists struggle with is drawing. Once they draw the first eye, it's okay. They're like, oh, this is great. I love art. I love doing this so much. But once they get to the second eye, hold on, let me just draw this out. You don't have to start off with the eyeball, but I'm just gonna do it because I'm doing a quick sketch. The angle is slightly angled, I would say. Top lid does something like this, like that, down, and then lid comes down, and then bottom lid, something like that, like that. There you are, there you have it. Then tear duct and eye recessed inside. Lashes, something like this. Then you have your double lid up here for this reference. And your eyeball, iris. So artists will get their eye sketch to something around this point, and they're like, oh yeah, I'm feeling good. This is gonna be a great drawing. I love drawing so much. Drawing is the best thing in the world. I love it. Right? But then they start to draw the other eye, and it just doesn't work out the same way. They can't get the eyes to look cohesive, like they're on the same face, and it just looks weird, right? That's a problem many of us have. And this is a difficult problem to have. It is something many of us struggle with. But you gotta realize, the eyes follow the same sort of line on the face. And then, so you're gonna have this sort of section here where there's a recess, you have your eyebrow. And then you're gonna have it on the other side as well. You're gonna have your eyebrow here and your nose. And then artists always struggle with drawing the other eye. How is it supposed to look? How does it look in comparison with this eye? So this corner on this side isn't going to be right here because that would be a forward facing face. This face, I can tell from the reference, is slightly angled like that. So that corner right here is going to be behind the eye on the other side, on this side. So you're not going to see this part, but you're going to see it come over. Something like that. And then the bottom lid, you're gonna see it follow that section there. So you see it follow the contour of the eye and go back behind it, meeting up with that section there. Like a mouth almost. And then you're gonna have your white of the eye just right there sitting. You can do a little indication of that. You're gonna have your double lid, your other iris, and give or take, that is somewhat what the other eye is gonna look like in conjunction with the one eye that you just drew. So thinking about the eyes in a 3D form very much help in getting both eyes right and getting both eyes looking like they're on the same person. and you avoid this sort of Quasimodo looking character. But this is how you draw realistic eyes. And that's all fun and dandy, of course. We love drawing realistic eyes. But I'm good doodles. How do I draw eyes? The reason that I showed you guys drawing the structure and drawing eyes realistically first is before you stylize your eyes, you want to know the structure of it, and gaining that knowledge really helps in stylizing. So whenever I give you a tutorial, I'm going to show you how to analyze the structure, draw it realistically, and then from there you can take your deductive steps to make it your own and draw your style over it. This just makes your anatomy a lot better. So the basics, so my eyes follow pretty much the same structure. Follow that line. This line was practically straight. You're gonna have your thing here, your endpoint here, and I like to again follow that top lid and the angle. So 1, 2, 3. And you're gonna have a little indication of the corners as well. And then it's at this point where my style differs. I always like to start off with the right structure of the eye before I start to stylize. So you're gonna have something like this. This is pretty much the basic sketch of how I would start. But you guys know, my eyes very tired looking. And a lot of that is to do with how I treat the bottom lid of the eye. I don't like to fully render the bottom lid as you normally would. But what I like to do is just add these lines to indicate this bottom lid. And as you'll see in many of my drawings, this is how I do it. Where I will indicate this highlighted region of the top lid here with something like this. And then I would blend that out a little bit. And that is pretty much how I would translate this eye into something that is more of my style, simplifying shapes, taking away parts that I don't want, and adding parts that I do. And something that I've been practicing with, because I feel like sometimes my eye rendering is a little harsh and a little too dark. I've been trying to lighten up this, lighten up any region where the pupil is not touching, or where the iris isn't touching, of the top lid, and fade it out. So anywhere the pupil and the iris is touching would be the darkest region. Let me just highlight that. So anywhere that is touching the iris would be the darkest region. And then that would blend into the iris. And then the further away you get from this region where the iris sits, it gets lighter and lighter. And then, of course, I would come in with some textured brushes and do something like that. And of course, you come in with your lashes. And then I would indicate some lashes on the bottom, not too many. And then that's how I would draw my eyes. Similar formula, just slightly different variations in the steps leading up. And then let's try fully rendering this one in my style. But yeah, that is pretty much the tutorial. This is just how I would perceive my own rendering of this eye in my style. Gadoodleification, if you want to put a name to it. Yeah, slight differences. I like a darker under eye. I like to add a darker under eye than what is shown in reference, and a lot more texture and variation compared to the more softer edges of a traditional rendering. But yeah, that is pretty much the tutorial. I hope you guys got a little bit better of a grasp at how to draw eyes and things you want to add additional to the basic structure of the eye, like makeup, the lashes, etc. Any details that goes after, especially with makeup. I didn't show it in this tutorial. Actually, I could do it real quick. When you add makeup, you want to add whatever, I don't really know what the makeup stuff is called, any of the things are called, but when you want to do the makeup, you want to add it last, because like doing makeup in real life, your eye's already there, you're just adding on top of it. So you want to have your finished eye already finished, and then you want to add the makeup on after. So you can have like your wing thing like that, darker lashes, longer lashes. Yeah, any makeup that you add goes on after the eye is fully complete, and then yeah. But regardless of that, that is the tutorial. I went with you guys over structure, a little bit of rendering, add-ons like lashes, details which you add on after your basic rendering is done, and then also how you might want to stylize. But whenever you do stylize, remember, always start off with the structure, the real structure, the real 3D structure of whatever it is you want to stylize, and then deduct, take things away, add things as you like. But having that sort of understanding of the real structure of the eye really helps to stylize your work in a more believable way. Thank you guys for watching the second part of my eye tutorial. This is it for that tutorial. I pretty much finished everything that I wanted to cover. I promise you I will get better at teaching as I do more of these. I'm trying things out at the moment, seeing what works, seeing what doesn't, and your feedback is always welcome, so let me know. But yeah, this has been Gadoodles.